Welcome to the Biz and Tech Podcast. My name is Blake Dowling. I am the CEO of Aegis Business Technologies. At Aegis, we provide IT support. We help you when things aren't working right. On top of IT support, we've been doing a lot of phishing simulations lately. If you haven't done one at your office, give me a holler. It really helps to see your vulnerability to cyber threats as the cyber threat landscape is constantly changing. That being said, welcome to Season 2 of the Biz and Tech Podcast. We've been at it over a year, and today we are joined by Nick Iarossi, one of the founders at Capital City Consulting. Welcome, sir. What's up?
Hey, it's good to be here. I've actually fallen victim to some of your phishing scams.
Well, I wasn't going to divulge that.
Yeah.
So, no chat about
pretty
client
tricky.
behavior.
They're pretty tricky. Yep, pretty tricky.
But I bet you don't anymore.
I don't. I just don't open anything anymore. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I got an Amazon email the other day, and it's like, your account is overdrawn $3,000. Delete.
Yep. Yep.
Hackers are devious.
All of your tactics and training have just scared me off of literally opening any attachments from now on an email. It's scary what can be done out there, but you guys do a good job.
It's vicious because the old days of the mass email attacks, those are long gone. People are looking for the singular attack, the socially engineered singular attack from someone you know, someone you might trust or do business with. So
they're very clever. It really is.
Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah. And the free food coupons, that always gets people.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've stayed away from those as well.
Awesome. All right. So that being said, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Capital City Consulting. I'm sure last year doing business in your industry was very different, as it is for everyone out there. But you founded the business in 2003, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we've been rolling along. I mean, look, things have changed dramatically with COVID, the way that you do business. But it's like any other business, you just evolve, right? You got to find a way to get what you need done, to access the people that you need to access to influence decision making. And it's done a lot electronically, now. But our firm is lucky enough to have good access to the decision makers. So, we've all kind of evolved and learned how to adapt to the new world, but it hasn't been without its challenges.
Absolutely. I remember knocking on you all's door back in 2006 for the first time and watching you all grow the business and become, one of the most elite lobbying firms in the States. Pretty cool. So congratulations on that journey.
Well, it's about hiring good people. We started in 2003, as you mentioned, with Gerald Wester and Pat O'Connell and Ron LaFace and I, the four of us. And we've grown it into one of the largest firms in the state now. And Gerald and Pat have since retired. But Ron and I have, really focused on just hiring quality people, and that's created quality results. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Great stuff. So you have a new building. How's it feel to be one of the premier buildings in downtown Tallahassee? The downtown Tallahassee area has grown so much over the years, and to see it evolve and to see what people are doing with that space is really cool. What was that process like? And from moving to the old business and from Greenberg Traurig into the new space, what was that journey like?
Well, we love our new building. We designed it from scratch. We knocked down an existing building on Jefferson Street, designed this one, and designed it for more of a lobbying operation. Most of the offices downtown are older buildings and were designed for old law firms or accounting firms. So we wanted something more open, more modern, lots of glass, lots of collaborative workspace, and something that's tailored more toward specifically what we do in the government affairs space. And so we love being there. We're really proud of it. It was Ajax Construction actually did which Jay Smith well. They did the construction for us, did an excellent job. And we're really happy with the way it turned out. But building is building, and it takes a lot of time and effort in picking things out. I was building a house for my family at the same exact time. It was terrible timing to do two building projects at the same time, but both have turned out well, and we're pleased to invest in downtown. We all live in Tallahassee. Tallahassee's our home. It's where we're raising our families. So we wanted to invest in an office building downtown, build something that we can be proud of, and that I think also enhances the downtown atmosphere. And so that little strip of Jefferson Street now across from City Hall, where our building is, Florida Power and Light built a brand new building there. We've got Ron Book and Associates next to us with a nice office. So that strip went from a kind of a dilapidated area to a really nice stretch, which is nice because it's only a block from the Capitol. And the location's great because legislators are willing to walk across the street, to visit with us. And during COVID, where the Capitol's kind of locked down, we didn't know this at the time, but that location is proving to be even more beneficial than we ever anticipated.
Location,
yeah, it really is,
man.
Yeah.
It's huge. Fun fact, Greenberg Traurig, one of my first jobs was with Greenberg Traurig.
I did not know that.
I was a runner.
Good people. Yeah, good firm, good people. We spent a lot of years renting office from them.
Mr. Baggett used to give me the keys to the Jaguar and say, go to the airport and pick up this client and act intelligent.
Yeah, Fred's a great guy. And, of course, Ron's dad, Ron LaFace Sr., who's passed away, but was part of that firm and a wonderful guy. So it's we have good memories from that building, but we're glad that we were able to invest and build in our own, which happened to be, by the way, the old Fat Tuesdays location in Tallahassee. We bought that building and knocked it down. It was falling down. So
I might have checked in there a couple times back in the day.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. I was there a lot too, so I think there's kind of a lot of ghosts from the past are haunting our office from the old Fat Tuesday
Definitely.
location.
The smell of daiquiris
That's right.
in the air.
Yeah.
Ron Sr. actually gave me that job. I had written him a note after my freshman year at Florida. And he's like, well, I don't really know if we need someone full-time. I was like, well, I don't really want to work full-time. I was like, I'm more of a noon to 5 kind of guy. And so we slid into that custom schedule, and no Fridays either.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, it was a great job, great opportunity, and great men, great professionals, as you said.
Yeah.
So speaking of the old days, you were at Florida State. You were president of the student body. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, that's how Ron LaFace Sr. and I met, but also Junior. Ron LaFace Sr. and I served on the Civic Center board together. One of the perks of being student body president at FSU is you sit on the Civic Center board.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's how I met Ron Sr.
Okay.
And then Ron Jr., who's obviously now my business partner, he and I met in college because he was Blue Key president at Florida while I was student body president at FSU, and we were part of, we were the inaugural class of College Leadership Florida, and we met there in undergrad, and the rest is history. So.
Well, I posted a picture of you all from those days
Not
too long ago on social media, and it was from your Facebook page. So I figured it was all above board, safe.
Yeah.
But great story, great commonality. LaFace family, great people, good stuff. So while you were at Florida State, what were those years? What was going on in the football realm and during that time? We got to go there.
We were tops. I mean, it was 94 to 98. So we were, we had great seasons.
With
played in national championships and all that stuff. So it's been a difficult couple of years. But I will say, I do think that Coach Norvell's the right guy. We got to give him a couple of years. I'm excited about some of the players that we've gotten out of the portal, the transfer portal, to help plug some holes for next year and give our team. I mean, we have the youngest football team in college football. So we need to give our guys a couple of years to mature. So I think accessing the portal was a smart move, and hopefully that helps plug a hole to get us, back above 500 next year with the hopes of having a good season the following season.
Well, I'm not a trash talker because the memory of the McElwain and Coach Boom era are very fresh. Yeah. And to get the right guy at the right time for us, that was Dan Mullen. But for you guys, good luck. With
but
Coach
for us,
Norvell.
for our age, I mean, I got to be honest, like the best times in college football was when FSU and UF and Miami were all top 10 teams, and we were all battling out to head to the national championship or playing in the national championship. That's the best times in college football, and I'm hoping that all three programs get there. I mean, I really do get back there because it's you guys had a good season this year, but Miami started off good, struggled a little bit. FSU obviously had a building year this year, so I think if we can all get back to national prominence in the next 3 years or so, it's going to be good for Florida.
Yeah, the '96 national championship in New Orleans. I mean, it's hard.
I was there.
It's hard to remember how awesome that was because that was so special. Those teams, those players, those coaches.
Yeah.
And, I knew those gentlemen, like Zach Pillar on the offensive line and guys like James Bates, who was in the news. Great stuff. All right, well, let's pivot a little bit. That's a very popular word in 2021. You got to pivot, constantly pivot.
Lots of pivoting.
So racing. I wanted to talk about racing. Our producer Josh and I were talking before you got in the studio today about Miami and racing. What's that all about? What's your hobby? When did that start? Tell us about it, man.
Yeah, I guess it started, I've always been infatuated with cars. My dad was a car guy. I've always loved cars growing up. I started go-karting, maybe 15, 16, 17 years ago. And then I had a couple friends. Do you know Derek Whitus and Red Odosky?
I know the names.
Yeah, so they have a professional race team, and they were racing professionally at the time and kept encouraging me to go do the course and come out and do a race with them. So I guess it was about 6 or 7 years ago I did a race with them at Virginia International Raceway, my first race ever, big race, night race. It was a 14-hour race. They even put me in for 14 hours. So we had 3 drivers switching, me and Rhett and Derek.
Okay.
And I even did a night stint, which this track has no lights, so you're in the middle of nowhere. It's pitch black, and you're just relying on your car's lights and these apex lights to enhance your current car's lights. and I felt like I was going to die the whole time. But when I got done, I had
How
such
many
a
people are you
blast.
racing against?
Oh, geez, there were probably 60 or 70 cars in that race. It was a big race.
How many crashes in a 14-hour race?
Oh, there's always plenty. Yeah, mechanical failures, crashes. Yeah, I mean, it's a race of attrition, those big endurance races. But when I got out, I was so elated. I loved it so much. It was the best feeling I'd ever had, and I was kind of hooked from there. So from there on, for the last 6.5 years or so, I've been racing quite a bit. I'm going to New Orleans to race this weekend. At NOLA, their racetrack there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm even dragging my daughter along with me. My oldest, she likes to kind of come on these trips because she sees a new city and gets to hang with me. And so
sure,
it's a lot of fun.
Traveling with my dad was one of the highlights of childhood.
Yeah.
We went to Rio one time for a business trip. And to be able to, tag along and learn about your parents and see them outside the house and doing their thing.
That's what she says. And she sees a new city. I mean, look, I think sitting at the racetrack all day, sometimes, when I'm in the car, I think she finds that exciting. We'll put her on the comm so she can talk to me. And because this is an endurance race Saturday and Sunday, 8-hour races each day. And but I'm going to be in it with a new team with a new car this weekend. I'm racing a Porsche GT4 Cayman Club Sport. I'm really looking forward to that. And it's a good team. They won a national championship last year in the World Racing League. So I'm hoping this is the first race of the season. So I'm hoping we start off with a win this year.
What kind of top speeds are we talking with that kind of vehicle?
It all depends on the track. I mean, the vehicle can go, close to 200. But at this track, it all depends on the length of the straightaway, right? How fast you can get up to. Okay. This particular track at the end of the front straight, we'll probably be looking in the 140, 145 range, And that's a hard brake zone from there. So you're slowing down to about probably 50 miles per hour from there as late as possible.
And is the protective gear like something you'd see in NASCAR?
Oh, yeah.
You're
absolutely.
locked in?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Han systems, full cages, nets. I mean, fire suppression systems. I mean, they're very sophisticated cars.
So this is the real deal Holyfield.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
awesome,
fun.
man.
I love it, yeah.
I did a one-lap trial out at Atlanta Motor Speedway in an IROC series as part of a Marlboro event.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to... I thought, we're going to ride around. It's going to be awesome. Once you cross 120, 140, it changes quickly. And that was just one car out there, and I wasn't even driving. I was a passenger. Well, so I can't imagine the adrenaline.
It is, but the key is to kind of keep yourself. I think, in like anything in life, is even though there's chaos going on around you in a racetrack, and you're around 60 cars all doing 100 plus miles per hour, all trying to get into turn one as fast as they can. The key is to remain calm, stay focused, like blot out all the noise, and so there are a lot of parallels between racing and life. So. Even though your adrenaline's going and it is exciting, that's a great part about racing. But the reality is, in order to really feel the car and be fast, you have to kind of keep yourself calm and let your senses do the work. So if you're too amped up, it doesn't work. So it's that focus and discipline is a key piece of being fast.
Excellent points. I was reading a novel by FSU professor Dr. James Harding last Sunday. And he had an unfortunate accident as a young man. And
I know JR well. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually did a class with him this week. I was a virtual guest on his class this past week. I've known JR since college. Great guy.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we host some students of his at Aegis every semester. And to be able to have that reach is pretty special. Well, I don't know if you've read his book.
I have.
Now What? But the message... that his high school coach was giving it to him right when he had the accident, the situation, the incident. It's like, listen, you can do anything. You can overcome this just like anything in life. You can play to win. And that message of play to win throughout the book, I wrote a column last Saturday for FloridaPolitics.com with that message, play to win. Yeah. Whatever you're doing, whether it's racing, charitable work, lobbying, IT work, if you're not playing to win, why bother?
Agreed.
So awesome, great commonality there, and cheers to JR and his team.
He's overcome a lot. I mean, to actually, have to go through becoming paralyzed not once but twice. He had a follow-up car accident that
the van
flipped. He had to start back over from square one. So most people would have given up the first time. He did it twice, and look, he's not only persevered, but he's wildly successful. So and changing students' lives and changing the lives of the disability community around him nationally. So it's a huge success story, but just shows you that grind and grit and determination can get you through anything. And some people have it, some people don't, but he's clearly someone who does.
Huge success. I mean, how many titles does he have next to his name?
Yeah,
I'm like speaker, advocate, author, professor. What do you want me to call you?
Yeah.
but great guy, good stuff. On the home front, obviously last year was what it was. We spent a lot of time on the patio at our house.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of IPA, watched a lot of sports, not thinking college football would happen.
Yeah.
We retooled our patio to be like Jeannie calls it my man patio, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Manio? Is that a new word?
Manio, I don't know. It's
not bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, we ended up committing to going to the Gator games that were at home, and it was pretty special. Walk in the swamp and there's 4 people next to you.
Yeah.
And I'm in no traffic. There's a lot of negatives to all of that, but the no traffic thing was a home run for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't finish strong. We played to win, but we did not finish strong. Those last couple of games were hard to watch, with the exception of the Alabama game. We fought hard there, but the other two. But that being said, back to the home front. What'd you all do outside of the norm with the family? You've got children. You mentioned your daughter goes on the road with you.
Yeah.
Games, movie nights, taco night. Jimmy Fasig was talking about tacos when he was on the show a couple months ago. Taco night became like this huge event.
Yeah.
Margaritas, wine, tacos. What'd you guys do to mix it up?
Yeah, we went to some football games. Thankfully, right, I'll give a prop to Governor DeSantis for keeping our economy open and encouraging sports to be played, not just at the collegiate and pro level in Florida, but at the high school level and middle school level. I cannot imagine being a senior in high school last year, and I played football, and them telling you you're going to miss your senior year of football because of COVID. So the lucky thing is we were able to do things in Florida. At home, the silver lining for me was I usually for work, I travel, 2-3 days a week normally. And that of course ended. So I was home more. So it was nice to be able to spend time with my wife and my daughters, who are, they're 14 and 10, they're growing up fast. And so these years are kind of a blur. And as my wife always reminds me, my 14-year-old, in 2 years when she can drive is probably not going to want to hang out with us much anymore. So we got to suck it up as much as we can right now. And So we did a lot of cooking together. Yeah, a lot of cooking. We had a couple other families that we called our quarantine families that we would only do things with each other, and they happened to be our friends and our daughter's best friends as well. So that worked out well.
That's convenient.
But yeah, really did very little traveling. We were in the middle of moving into our new home too, so that was kind of exciting and nice, and broke up kind of the middle of COVID. But look, we were happy the kids were able to go back to school in August. And I think the governor and Commissioner Corcoran and those folks, requiring schools to open was the right decision. And they were thrilled to be back. But this is one of those things that I think we're going to look back on years from now and just remember what a struggle it was. But it's making us stronger. It's bringing families together. It's creating new traditions, whether it's taco night or Taco Tuesdays or just movie nights together, and showing more appreciation for one another. So in every bad situation there's a silver lining. So for us it was the time we got to spend together.
Yeah, and our leadership in Florida and leaders in Texas, when you see sports events with so small amount of fans in the crowd, it's kind of, at least for me personally, it's kind of a feel good moment. Like, it's not the end of the world. There's people out actually doing something. Yeah,
it's the only normalcy we have. And you mentioned Texas too. Look, I think the silver lining of COVID, despite it just being such a terrible thing, and the amount of loss of life has been terrible, and what it's done economically to folks has been terrible. I do think the policies, though, that Florida has in place and that Texas has in place is going to create incredible growth. When we get people vaccinated and the economy's open fully back up, I think Florida and Texas in particular, those two states are really set up for the next decade or two to grow substantially as a result of the policies that we have in place of an open economy, because our economy hasn't dived as much as these other states have.
Right.
And it's attracted wealth and businesses to move to those two states, to flee lockdown states. And that's going to continue to pay dividends over time, and that's going to help people in our economies with jobs. It's going to help the state budget, and it's going to help us recover quickly. So if there's any silver lining into this horrible thing, it's that for our state.
And I mentioned Texas for two reasons. A, I was born in Houston.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not long. Spent 2 years there. But B, watching the Rose Bowl in Texas was a little odd.
Yeah.
And that's certainly stuck with me since bowl season.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. So I was talking about Spotify with one of my teammates before we walked over, and advertising on Spotify. And, one of the things early in the pandemic, Jeannie and I would have, just music night. So this is your music question for today.
Okay.
What's the last thing you listened to music-wise?
Well, it's actually on Spotify this morning working out. I have I usually listen to a hard rock workout list. So it's a playlist of all hard rock
I like
music
where
on
this is going.
Spotify. Yeah. So I'm like, I listen to everything. So when I'm cooking, my daughters will tell you, because they know every word to every song, it's all Frank Sinatra. I listen to Frank Sinatra, I drink wine, and I cook. And I usually cook at least one night a week, for the family. It's usually steaks or something Italian, but so my repertoire is limited, but it's always Frank Sinatra.
Awesome.
And then, during the day, I listen to rap, I listen to country, I listen to hard rock. I'm all over the place. So I have a pretty broad music spectrum. But this morning, hard rock workout list on Spotify, actually.
So we talking some Motley Crue, some
Poison,
some Metallica.
Def Leppard, Whitesnake, all the good ones. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Most excellent. Yeah, my childhood was a series of hard rock incidents. Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, Albany, Georgia, 1988. One of the best concerts of all time.
Yeah. Big fan of the Crue, big fan of Guns N' Roses. Yeah. Listen to them a lot.
Wait a minute. I just had a memory. Didn't I see you at the Guns N' Roses reunion tour in Orlando?
You did in Orlando, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I was trying
I want to do the stadium tour, by the way. They keep canceling and putting off, but it's got, Def Leppard and Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and Poison. Pat Benatar. There's one in July, right? Is it August? August?
Even if it's limited seating,
yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be there, man.
It's like the perfect playlist.
It is. Absolutely. All right, let's talk about North Florida charitable causes before we wrap today. I see you guys out at the Treehouse event every year. What is your family, Capital City Consulting, what do you all engage in the community, in the state, as far as charitable organizations?
Yeah, so the number, we spread around our from a family perspective. We spread around the different causes. There's a bunch of Tallahassee causes. You mentioned Treehouse that we tend to contribute to. Our number one charity, though, like if we were to pick the one that we support probably the most, would be March of Dimes. And the reason for that is my youngest daughter Ella was premature. She was actually born in Fort Lauderdale. We were down visiting my wife's family for Thanksgiving, and it was right outside the window where you're no longer supposed to travel when you're far enough along in pregnancy. The night before Thanksgiving, my wife goes into labor at 8:30 at night. We rush to the hospital. She's born at like 1:30 in the morning on Thanksgiving Day, but she was premature, and so we were in the NICU down there for about 5.5 weeks. And luckily, she's had no residual issues. She was healthy, just needed more time. And the NICU nurses were just absolutely fantastic. Like, they're just absolute angels. Here you are. You're so scared about your child having health concerns, and they look so little and frail. Right. And these nurses are just taking care of everything, reassuring you. And the comfort it gave us was huge. So we know what other families have to go through who have premature babies. So the March of Dimes has been our go-to charity.
Awesome. Well, cheers to the March of Dimes, and salute to all healthcare workers this year and last.
Oh, for
what a
sure.
mission.
Oh, yeah. Heroes, for sure. They've put themselves in harm's way, and I don't think people appreciate just the number of hours they're putting in under very stressful conditions. So it's not just the fact they're putting themselves in harm's way, dealing with COVID patients, but they're putting in an inordinate amount of hours under very stressful situations, and we'd be in big trouble without them.
Absolutely. All right, final question of the day. This is the big one. What is the proudest moment of your career?
Wow. I haven't thought about that one.
It's a big one.
That is a big one.
So we'll give you 5 seconds for the answer.
I got to say, I probably a few years back, we won the Influence Magazine Lobbying Firm of the Year. That was, even though we were kind of smaller then than we are now, I think the recognition from our peers that we were a top lobbying firm was kind of the point where I felt like we arrived, and then we've just built off that over time. But I'll be honest. Every year I think we accomplish things that kind of make me more and more proud. I'm not a guy that really looks back. I'm kind of an on to the next one guy, and so. Every year we're chasing that next goal, whether it be a revenue number, or whether it be a win in the legislature for a client. whether it be that next hire. So, I mean, I'm always kind of proud of the next moment. We're never really looking back, always looking forward. And so I think that's been the secret to our success, is that we don't really rest on our laurels or previous accolades, but are always looking for the next one.
Yeah, we're going for the Florida trend, best places to work, year number 4.
Yeah.
4-peat.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on
I think you can do it.
on the distinction for the firm, and to you as well. Last year, Influence Magazine top 100 person of the year, I believe.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it is. I'm proud of those things. But again, we got a great team, and we're just constantly looking forward, constantly looking for the next win.
Well, I've had the opportunity to contribute to Peter and Phil and the crew at FloridaPolitics.com for several years, and great news mechanism for our state and for you all's industry, and happy to be part of it. That being said, Nick, thanks for being here, man.
And it's a pleasure. It was fun. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. As we move forward, 2021, season 2 of the Biz and Tech podcast, we've got Monica from WCTV coming on the show, Sally Bradshaw with Midtown Reader, Matt from Madison Social. Can't wait to hear his story of Gain Street and that bar. Awesome. Thanks for supporting us. Look for Nick and Capital City Consulting to be winning more awards in the future. Go Gators. We'll see you next time.
Go Noles.
Thanks for listening.